Hello everybody! Today we're going to be reviewing a couple of narrow gauge locomotives that run on N-scale track. And these are from the Thomas & Friends universe, and it's Skarloey and Rheneas. Why don't we start with a detailed look at Skarloey. Okay, so Skarloey is an 042 saddle tank locomotive. And if Skarloey were a real engine, he probably would have been built by Fletcher Jennings and Company in around 1864. So as we look at Skarloey, you can see he's got the typical saddle tank configuration here. You can see that tank just kind of wrapping over the boiler. He's got that nice kind of burgundy maroon color, and it says Skarloey right across the saddle tank there with some silver trim paint. And that trim paint carries down to the piston. And then you can see the little coal bunkers on the side and the black paint and the chimney there in the front. And some nice linkage there on the side. And when we look at it from the bottom, you'll see that linkage kind of tapers in. So this is really a nice setup for an N-scale locomotive. It has a little side step here before you get into the driver's cabin. And you can see steam dome, whistle, just very nice. And a little bit of silver trim right around the coal bunker there. And a number 1, if you can see it, right there. All right, let's give it a quick spin. Okay, as we move to the back here, you'll see there's a couple of porthole windows with some gold trim in there. You can see the rear lamp right there on the white with a little red lens. It's not functioning, of course, but it's got a little red paint job there. And then the number 1 on the back, buffers, and then the couplers. And a couple of little other details right down here on the bottom. As we spin it again, you'll see here this is just a mirror image of the opposite side here. Again, the Skarloey name right across the saddle tank. The same details as the opposite side. You get a nice little step up here. The paint scheme carries over to the piston, and then you've got the linkage there. And the drive wheels you can probably see right behind there. All right, let's take a look at the front. Okay, as is customary with the Thomas universe, we have Skarloey's smiling face right out there out in front. You have the buffers with the little black painted tips, which is a nice detail. And then looking straight forward, you'll see the porthole windows kind of toward the back. The train whistle, which is painted in a brass color on top of the steam dome. The eyes on the N-scale Thomas locomotives do not travel back and forth left and right like they do on the HO scale. So the eyes and the face are static. And let's bring it around full circle here. Yeah, Skarloey's about 3.5 inches long. And then as we bring it around to the other side here, you can see as we finish this off, again, pretty nice detail. All right, let's look at the top and the bottom. All right, looking at the top here, you can see obviously the paint scheme carries over. You can see the whistle up here. You can see the coal bunkers on either side from the top. And you can see that there's a little box kind of over part of the coal load on the right-hand side of the locomotive. And then there's another little structure here on the left side of the coal bunker. One thing to look at here are these couplers. These couplers are not the J couplers that we've been looking at with the past N-scale models. I'm just going to move this out of the way so we have a white background so you can see this. They are kind of a form of hook and loop coupler. This would be the loop, but what it does is it grabs a little tab right here on both sides. And we'll hook some rolling stock up to that, and we'll take a closer look at that. But yeah, so there's a little tab here, and this coupler will grab the tab on the rolling stock, and then the loop from the rolling stock will grab the tab on the locomotive. And that's how they pull along. All right, let's take a look at the bottom. All right, looking at the bottom, you can see here it's got the typical Bachmann stamping there, company stamping, and then a part number pasted on the bottom. A couple of very small screws here to dismantle the locomotive. So there's a screw there, here, and here. I think there might be a couple of other smaller ones in there. Again, we said it was an 042, so there's no wheels up here, but there's 4 drive wheels and then 2 wheels in the back. 042. Yeah, so that's what the bottom looks like, in case you're curious. Okay, let's put it on the turntable and give it one more spin. And there you have it. There's Skarloey. All right, next up is Rheneas. Rheneas is a Vermilion narrow gauge well tank engine. He would be an 040, even though the drive wheels are kind of far apart. I think we'd consider him an 040. And similar to Skarloey, he's about 3.5 inches long, maybe a little shy of 3.5 inches long. Yeah, so, and they run on the same railroad, whereas Skarloey is number 1, Rheneas is number 2, and you might be able to see the number 2 there, right on the coal bunker there. So Rheneas, his color here, as you can see, is orange, and he's got a lot of black trim, so similar to Skarloey, he's got the black painting along the front of the boiler there and on the chimney. He's got a lot of black trim around the coal bunker, around some of the cab structure there, and also, for lack of a better term, the little fender here under the wheel, and then on the piston. He's got some other detailing here you might be able to see from the side here. He's got a little bar across the top here that's raised. That's a nice detail for an N-scale locomotive, and he's got the whistle right over the steam dome there. And a little porthole window right on the side with a slightly arched entryway into the cab. All right, so let's give him a turn. Okay, so from the rear here, you can see the orange color carries around. We've got a couple of porthole windows in the back, and you've got the rear lantern. It's white with a red lens, non-functional, but still a nice detail just the same. And he's got some black trim around the cab there, and then a little mechanical detail right here. He's got a couple of buffers and a bumper here, which seems to be painted separately from the cab. It looks like it's a slightly different shade of orange. And he's got the same kind of N-scale kind of tab and loop coupler in the back. And let's continue around. Okay, so this side here is a mirror image of the opposite side. We've got the same details visible here. You got some brass piping along the side of the boiler, which is nice. You got these braces here, if you can see them from the side, for the boiler support. And then he's got nice linkage here, for the 2 drive wheels. Got a single arm here, and he's got some linkage here that leads into the piston, which is cool. Number 2 carries over. Yeah, nice. So let's continue around. Okay, so from the front here, you can see Rheneas' smiling face, again with these Thomas N scales. They have the faces, but the eyes don't traverse back and forth like they do on the HO scale. But still, quite a nice little detail. You can see from the front here, the porthole windows on the cab, the whistle painted brass right there on top of the dome, steam dome. Yeah, a couple of buffers up front. Orange bumper. Again, that bumper looks like it's painted just a slightly different shade of orange than the rest of the paint job on the engine. And then you've got that N scale kind of hook and tab, or I guess you might call it a hook and loop, but kind of a hook and tab coupler here. And we'll show you a little bit of detail how those look when they're coupled up, just so you can get an idea. And then a couple buffers up front. So let's bring it around full circle. Yeah, let's look at the top and the bottom. Okay, so the top here you can see Rheneas has a black roof to go with his orange paint job, whereas Skarloey's kind of burgundy color carried all the way around onto its cab roof. So that's a little slight difference in the paint job there. You can see here the decking, orange decking, so that's a solid color all the way through as far as that orange goes. And then you've got a couple of coal bunkers on the left and the right of the boiler in front of the cab. Yeah, and there's a good look there. You can see the kind of the top profile of those hook and tab couplers. Right, let's take a look at the bottom. Okay, so from the bottom you can see we've got the nice Bachmann badging or logoing there on the bottom. You've got some access screws here in case you need to get in there and do some servicing. You get the metal wheels, obviously metal for making contact on the track, and then you can see the drive linkage here connecting the wheels to the linkage. Not a ton of detail down here, but just to give you a look. But you can see here on the piston, you can see the cylinder kind of carries all the way around to the bottom of the engine and around, so that's kind of a nice detail as well. So there you go. All right, let's give it one more spin. Okay, so before we take Skarloey and Rheneas out on the layout, let's just give you a quick look at the rolling stock that they'll be hauling on the layout. So first up is what Skarloey will be towing along here, and that is this kind of beige and blue coach. And so, as you can see here, these coaches don't have any special names or identity or anything like that, no faces or whatever. They're just kind of generic coaches. But you can see here kind of the two-tone paint. The windows are different sizes here. You get a larger window here, smaller, too large, smaller, too large, small, and a larger window there on the end. We have some planking and bracing down the side and some other wood details up here above the windows. It has a gray roof, kind of semi-curved or semi-arched. So let's give it a quick spin. On this end here, you see there's some, vertical bracing structure there. You can see the arch of the roof, kind of going over the top of the car there. And then you've got this little mechanical detail here. Looks like an airline of some sort on that end. A couple buffers and that kind of tab and loop coupler. Let's continue around. On this side here, we've got this somewhat different detailing here. These look like the doors of some sort. And you can see here there's some kind of latch work that wasn't present on the other side. Looks a little brassy as far as the paint job goes. So that would be the only difference here. You get some vertical bracing here and all that, and some plank work. Let's bring it around the other side. And this end here is almost identical to the other end, but rather than the brake line, you've just got a little, what I would just describe as a little nub here. I'm sure on an actual coach that would be something specific, but it's kind of unidentifiable at this scale, so we'll just call it a nub for now. If somebody knows what that is, leave it in the comments. All right, just another quick spin. All right, and there's a detailed look at the one of 3 coaches that Skarloey will be hauling on the layout. Okay, next up, is one of the coaches that Rheneas will be hauling along the layout. So this coach here is the same actually as the one we just saw, the blue and the beige. This one just has a slightly different paint job here, a little bit more of a detailed paint job. You've got the kind of red or kind of dark brown, wood paneling here, and then the bracing is in a lighter brown, and then you can see again the latch work on the doors, the 3 doors. Same color gray, kind of semi-arched roof across the top. And a little detail here. We'll take a look at the top and the bottom. This will be the same top and bottom, I'm sure, as the blue coach. So we'll take a look at that because there's another detail that we want to show you that you really can't catch from the side here. But anyway, let's give it a turn. Again, this end here has the little nub down here in addition to the vertical bracing. You may be able to see the detail here if I just turn it slightly. The detail is that these coaches have a little running board along the side. That's quite a nice little detail for these N-scale coaches. The blue one that we just showed actually has a running board too. Didn't pick up on it because it's black and it really blended right into the black framework. But here you can see the running board quite nicely when it's painted brown against the black framing of the coach. So let's continue around. Yep, so this one is almost the same as the opposite side, except here you'll notice that similar to the blue car we just showed, there's no door latch detail painted on this side. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same. And then finally here, the opposite end, you have the little 2 connectors and what looks like an air line. Down here is a detail. You got all the cars have 2 buffers, front and back, that hook and tab or hook and loop coupler, and then the vertical bracing. So yeah, let's take a look at the top of this one, and this will be the same really as the blue one as well, which we didn't give a look at the top and the bottom, but let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, so this has the gray arched roof. There's no detail on the roof. There's no riveting or bolt work or anything like that. But I did want to show you here if you can get that angle here from the top. This is the detail that I wanted to show, was that running board. You might be able to get a better look at it from the top. You can see the flat running board. Yeah, looks cool. Let's take a look at the bottom. Okay, so the bottom, metal wheels here on the construction. The construction's all plastic except for those wheels. If we give it this little angle here, you can see these coaches have a little bit of suspension detail down here, which is quite nice in the trucks. And then again, you can see that running board. If we get a full look at the bottom, you'll see here it's got the Bachmann logo, corporate information down there, and a little part number down there. But otherwise, there's some screws here to dismantle some of the parts. But yeah, good detail for a N-scale coach. All right, let's give it one more spin. All right, looks good. Okay, just wanted to give you a quick look from the top at this coupling system here. You can see that Rheneas in orange, he's coupled up to the coach, and you can see the loops kind of overlap each other, and one or both of the loops grab the tab on the opposite, engine or rolling stock. So the loop from the rolling stock would grab the tab from the engine. I'm not sure both sit flush, both loops, but as long as one grabs, that's the big thing. And then here they are just kind of separate, so you can see what they look like close to each other, and then what they look like coupled. All right, let's take Skarloey and Rheneas out on the layout for a quick run.